Hello and welcome to the internet, my name is Jake7 and welcome to today's episode of Let's Play Freedom Planet. Starting off with a 1-up, of course, because why not? I'm feeling faster than happened last time we did Jade Creek as well with Carol, so yeah, that's neat I guess. Anyway though, today we're going to be getting into Jade Creek and Trap Hideout with Milla. So yeah, I actually tried recording this a little while ago, but there were some complications, shall we say. Holy fuck, that took a lot longer than it should have. Okay. God damn it. Alright, well, how do I say? Basically, I got really frustrated at part of this level, namely the mini-boss, and then I got stuck in part of the fucking level, so I just went and recorded some Earthbound instead. Which also ended up being quite frustrating if you're keeping up with that series. I will say, I'm sorry that I did miss an upload the other day with the series. I've been doing my best to keep on with daily uploads, however, I haven't had a good chance to actually get back and record this series. Or really just anything for that matter. But, yeah, I've had a little trouble finding time to record things, so hopefully everything should be okay for the rest of August. I was just away for a little while and I had a bunch of stuff going on when I wasn't away, so I didn't really have a good chance to sit down and just record anything. Actually it was more so a problem of me just not having any opportunities when I was home. So yeah, that was all kind of shitty, but again, hopefully everything will be fine for the rest of August, and then I'm hoping to have things just upload for most of September, you know, like stockpiled ahead of time. But we'll get there when we get there, I suppose. This series should be done by then, so that's cool, I guess. Let's see then. So yeah, I did actually just run this level a little while ago, as well as the next level, and I did surprisingly well on both of them, so I'm hoping that continues here. It clearly hasn't been, considering I died like instantly on this level. Well, not instantly, but I died before even making it to the first checkpoint. So that was kind of shitty. But things definitely been looking a bit better. So one thing that I actually am not certain we've seen before, I may have seen this in Aqua Tunnel, but I'm not 100% certain on that, is you get these bubbles. So only Milla ever actually gets in these. I gotta go through here. Yeah, it is pretty nifty. It's a bit more fun way to get through certain parts of the level. Okay, the bubble shield. Shouldn't be super far from the mini-boss now. Which again, that's what really was frustrating me last time I tried to record this. And when I went to go do it earlier today, I did it in one shot, somehow. I highly doubt it's going to happen again, but I'd be very happy if it did. Okay, that's a lot more damage to the shield than I'd like, but a good chunk of this area will be invincible. And I believe this gets us fairly close to where we're going. So yeah, that part can be a little weird at times, especially when we get up to the ones up here. Okay. Not bad. Alright, made it through, well... Okay, yeah, I think that's pretty much all of that section down. So then... Yeah, I just feel like this level, especially the mini-boss of this level, can just be really frustrating at times. And again, in the past I have had trouble navigating this level, as I've played this game a crap ton of times while working on this Let's Play. I must say I've definitely gotten the hang of this level for the most part. Again, the mini-boss is still quite a hassle. But the boss for this level, even with Milla, like I've never actually... This is one of the few levels where I don't feel like I've really ever struggled with the boss when using Milla. Pretty much every level, even some of the earlier levels, I feel like there was some struggle at first with the bosses. Like I remember last episode, I did really well in against Dale in what was it called? Sky Battalion. But the first time I did that fight, it was a mess. That was a train wreck for me. I hated it. But yeah, Milla is just a character that really requires you to have the enemy's patterns down to a T and just capitalize on virtually everything they do. There's little margin for error with this character, and it can be quite irritating at times, but then you just suddenly start playing really well, like right there. I mean, when you are playing well, as far as I can tell, and I don't really have any confirmation on this, this is just something that I feel like I've noticed, is that her blast, while it can be really irritating to use at times, it is incredibly powerful, and in fact, I have a feeling it might be like the strongest attack in the game that you can use. Not in terms of usefulness necessarily, but just in terms of raw power. It seems like it does a lot more damage than most attacks. So, yeah, like it just destroyed Mira right there, which, I mean, hey, you know, I'm not complaining. Last time I did this, that was absolutely hell. And again, then, like, I would have kept going despite how annoyed I was at Mira. Like, that wasn't what ultimately made me quit. It was just the fact that I got stuck, and I was kind of just done with the game at that point. And again, I feel like I may have said this before, but if my commentary in these last couple episodes isn't quite up to par, especially with how it was earlier in the series, I do apologize. I just think I might be starting to get a tad bit burnt out with this game. I hate to be negative like that. Okay, I mean, obviously, I'm no stranger to criticizing games when I play through them. If there's something that I have a problem with, I will definitely criticize it during my LP. It's just that I feel like that might seem a little harsh, because I do still like this game a lot. It's just that when you play it like 7 times back to back to back to back, it's obviously not exactly the most pleasant experience. I don't think it was actually 7 times. It should be like 5 times. But still, playing a game that many times in like 3 months, very few games can actually make you want to do that. And as much as Freedom Planet may make you want to play through every character's story once, doing every character's story twice, and again, a fairly short time frame, it's not quite that good. Which, I mean, that's not really a criticism, because, again, virtually no game would make you... I feel like it'd be very hard to make a game that's that fun and that difficult to get tired of, I guess is the best way to word it. But, still, this is definitely a game that I'm looking forward to. Again, I've had a ton of fun Let's Playing it. Just that over time, you definitely can get burnt out. I feel like I was saying similar things at the end of Mario Galaxy and Skyward Sword, that I had too many hiatuses on those series, and I was just burnt out from working on them for so many years. In this case, it's not that I've been working on the series for too long, it's just I've been playing this game too much for my own good. Anyway, though, I do want to talk about this boss, because this is actually pretty funny. I did mess up right there. But this boss can just get completely fucking cheesed by Milla. This is one of the few bosses where I've honestly always found it to be pretty easy with Milla. Because with the first phase, she can just do that. And with the second phase, you can just do that. And as long as you're being fairly careful, you can just avoid all of their ground attacks. And soon enough, when Carol and Lilac come into the fight to assist you, because they do that in this fight, then yeah, you can just shred through this guy really easily. I feel like I definitely must have done something like... Yeah, see? Super quick and easy boss fight. I hardly took any hits during it. Really nothing to worry about. Anyway, I feel like I must have done a fairly similar trick with Carol's wall climbing. I would definitely say that, at least in theory, Lilac has the most trouble fighting this boss, because she can't quite get up that easily, and more so that reliably. Because even though Dragon Boost can get her pretty high, there's no real guarantee you're going to hit him. But with Carol's wall climbing and Milla's flapping, I guess, it's definitely a much more guaranteed thing. So yeah, that boss isn't too bad. Even honestly, like, in general, I would say that's one of the easiest bosses in this game. It's quite strange, because again, Nira is fucking difficult as hell, at least in my eyes. But then suddenly the level just takes a total turn at the end, and it gives you, like, the easiest boss. Save for maybe, like, the boss in Dragon Valley. I'd say that's, like, the only boss that's really easier than it. Alright, that's our trap hideout. So yeah, Milla can block the ones going downward with her block. You just gotta kind of be careful, make sure you're not moving too quickly, because then they still can hit you, which is a little irritating, but it's not that bad. Now, I think this is the only level we see these blocks. If you remember, you can just kind of shred through them. And of course, with Milla's blast, shreds through them quite easily. Of course, for some of these smaller groups like that, you probably don't need it. Come on, just kill him. It's like a fucking Zubat cave. Yeah. Speaking of which, I have recently been playing a bit more Pokemon. I mean, oh shit, that was bad. Again, the whole multiple hit thing is really irritating. Anyway, though, I have been doing a monotype run of Platinum, of Psychic types. And I have been using some action replay codes to get certain members from my team that I think would make things a little easier, because this is my first time doing a monotype run, and I had no idea how tough it was going to be, especially since Platinum is, I'd say, fairly challenging compared to some of the other Pokemon games. Obviously, it's nowhere near like the hardest game of all time, but with things like Cynthia and some fairly difficult gym leaders, you know, it's definitely slightly more challenging than some other games in the series. So yeah, definitely wanted to make sure I was prepared. And I have to say, all of the gym leaders have pissed me off so far, including somehow fucking Maylene. I don't know how, this is really embarrassing to say, I don't know how the fuck I lost with an all-psychic type team, except for one, because I am using Espeon, but I don't have Espeon yet. So it's just an Eevee right now. But with an all-psychic type team, I don't know how I lost. Okay, I do know how, but it's stupid. So this is actually kind of, yeah, well at this point you're probably wondering how I would struggle against her. So if you don't quite remember her team, she has a Meditite, Machoke, and a Lucario. And her Lucario is like her main Pokemon, right? So Lucario is part Steel, in case you happen to forget that somehow. Steel resists Psychic. So, unlike with all the other Pokemon, I can't just, like, you know, use a Psychic type move and it's... Well, okay, I guess the same thing can be said for Meditite, because Psychic resists itself. But still, Meditite is a pretty weak Pokemon. There's not really much of a big deal there. But with Lucario, he's actually pretty good, and the fact of the matter is that pretty much all the gym leaders, when I got to them, they've all been higher level than I have, or at least their weakest Pokemon would be the same level as, like, my strongest Pokemon, or like an average level of my team, so that was always kind of shitty. But yeah, so the Lucario, it would just like sit there and use Force Palm, and then like paralyze me, because the main one I was trying to use to take him out was, yeah, I didn't mention, I have been using action replay codes to get a couple Pokemon. And one of those was a Beldum, because I want to run Metagross as my like sort of physical tank. So I figured Metang would be my best bet to take him out, but every time her Lucario would Force Palm, and every time she hit me with Force Palm, it would paralyze my Metang, and then I couldn't do anything to it. It was very irritating, just running through the same thing over and over again until finally I just brute forced my way through it. And all the other leaders have been pretty frustrating at points as well, but still, I don't know how I had so much trouble with Maylene. Currently, I'm a couple of gyms ahead of her at Byron, which is also going to be pretty annoying, by the way, because Steel uses Psychic, like I mentioned. So, I do have a Glade on my team, which is probably going to be like my best tool. Problem is the only fighting move he has is Drain Punch. So, good for staying alive, not so good for dealing damage. And I don't know why every time I get hit by this thing, it just fucks with my controls like super hard. But yeah, it seems to be doing that for some reason. God damn it, okay, I'm trying to avoid the hitboxes, but it's really difficult because it itself is basically a hitbox at that point. But I mean, I guess if any of you are curious, I can tell you what the rest of my team is, or at least what the rest of my team will be when I'm done. So, for this run, I'm using Gallade, Alakazam, Metagross, Latias, Espeon, and Slowbro. I think I'd already mentioned like all of those except for Alakazam and Latias. Initially it was looking a bit different. I wasn't going to use Alakazam. I was going to use a Gardevoir instead of a Gallade. And I was going to use Cresselia as a legendary. Because I did say I wanted to have a legendary for this, just to make things a little easier on myself. But then I kind of realized, because I needed I figured I would need something to deal with dark types. And I figured my best option for dealing with dark types would be a fighting type. And so I was going to look at Medicham. I was looking at Medicham initially, but that ended up being way too weak in terms of base stat total. So I figured I'd switch out my Gardevoir for a Gallade. And then I just kind of went from there, I guess. I'm actually not entirely certain why I switched out Cresselia, come to think of it. But I am very happy with having a Latias, because it does give you slightly better type coverage. Albeit Dragon types don't really have too many, type advantages. They aren't super effective against anything but themselves, if I'm not mistaken. But they do have a lot of resistances, and Latias is a bit tankier than, at least, Latios is. So, that'll be pretty good. Anyway, though, besides the point, getting back into Freedom Planet here, I know that was a pretty long spiel about a totally different franchise, but still, sometimes I'll just do that. I mean, if I'm playing a game, I might talk about it. As in, if I'm playing through another game besides when I'm Let's Playing. So getting back into things, though, so far, Shop Hideout, I mean, again, I've stated it before, I'm not a huge fan of this level. I just don't find it very fun to play. And I do find the music to be pretty boring, in all honesty. I just don't find it nearly as fun as some of the other levels. But, nor do I find it to just be as aesthetically pleasing. But still, so far it hasn't been too frustrating for me, which is always a plus. Nothing worse than being stuck on a level that you hate, you know? Okay, now for this first little biker section before the boss, unlike Carol where she has to destroy 100, Milla only has to destroy 15. Probably because her attacks are a lot more limited than Carol's are. Okay. God damn it. Just fucking kill him, goddammit. Okay, Jesus. So, it looks like I only left one of those. Now, this is when we fight Spade again. So, obviously, Milla's just inability to throw out quick attacks is going to make this a little bit annoying. Now, again, last time, when I just did my practice run for this level, well, they did an extra practice run, because why not? I mean, I beat it in one go. Sadly, I clearly am not quite as coordinated right now, so that's does suck a little bit. Okay, yeah, it doesn't really take too long, but still, I figured you probably want to watch that again, so. Alright, though. So, yeah, again, Spade is extremely hard to hit. The main thing that can make this fight pretty easy is, he has such little HP that you just have to get off a couple hits. It's just that you do have to be pretty coordinated to actually land your hits. Anyway, though, that is going to wrap things up for today's episode of Let's Play Freedom Planet. So, if you happen to find some form of enjoyment, please consider leaving a like, and maybe even subscribing to see the rest of the series. We'll have about 4 more episodes to go. Hopefully, it'll be pretty good. So, yeah, have a nice day, and I'll see you all in the future. Bye.